Hello guys, and welcome back to a new Girls Frontline 2 video. OTs-14 has finally arrived, and she's a very interesting damage dealer. What makes her special is that she can switch between two different modes, build up damage, and then unleash a much bigger attack later. So today, I'll keep things simple and explain how she works, how you should play her, and most importantly, whether she's worth pulling for free-to-play players, light spenders, and heavy spenders. We'll also talk about her signature weapon, Capitoline. Let's start with her passive. At the beginning of the battle, her passive puts her into cover order. While she's in this mode, she helps the rest of your team by increasing their critical damage, while also building up damage for later. Her passive also looks at the main element of your team. Depending on whether you're mainly using burn, electric, freeze, corrosion, hydro, or physical characters, she'll gain a matching effect. This is great because she doesn't force you to build one very specific team around her. She can work with different teams and adjust to what you're already using. Then, we have her skill Perfect Adaptation. This switches her from cover order into demolition order. And this is basically her okay, my turn now mode. Instead of helping the team, she starts focusing much more on her own damage. Her attack goes up, and she starts building up damage based on what she personally deals. So the easiest way to remember it is, cover order is build up damage and help your team. Demolition order is focus on her own damage. Her next important skill is Total Suppression, which is an area attack that can hit multiple enemies. The effect changes depending on which mode she's in. In cover order, it helps increase the damage you've been building up. In demolition order, it becomes much stronger and focuses more on her own damage. This is why you shouldn't just press her skills randomly. You want to spend some time building up damage, then switch into demolition order when you're ready to really start hitting hard. Her ultimate Sundering Demolition is where everything comes together. It slows enemies down and turns the damage you've built up into Overload Pulse. It also makes her immune to control effects for a while. Once she gets Overload Pulse, she unlocks her special attack, Critical Blast. And this is basically the big explosion you've been working toward. Critical Blast hits multiple enemies and deals extra fixed damage by consuming the Overload Pulse. This also makes her Common Key Source of Pride very useful because it increases that extra damage. For her other keys, the choices are fairly simple. Plunderer's Pace gives her extra movement after using some of her skills, which makes positioning easier. Single-Minded Obsession gives her more damage when she's attacking just one enemy, so it's particularly good against bosses. At all costs makes her take less damage while she's in cover order, giving you a safer option. And Destructive Desire is another option if you want to focus more on her personal damage instead of matching her effect to your team's element. Overall, I think her biggest strength is how flexible she is. She's a strong damage dealer, she can hit multiple enemies, she can work with different team elements, and she also provides some support before switching into her stronger damage mode. The only thing to keep in mind is that she's not completely brainless to play. You need to understand when to stay in cover order, when to switch into demolition order, and when to use your big damage you've been saving. But don't let that scare you. Once you understand the basic idea of build up damage, switch modes, then cash it out, she's actually pretty easy to use. Now, let's talk about her signature weapon, Capitoline. This is easily her best weapon. It increases the damage of her active skills. And if you use an active skill that doesn't deal damage, it instead gives her more attack for the current round. It also lets her ignore part of an enemy's defense when she hits their weakness, while giving her additional damage against debuffed enemies and Orlog Conglomerate enemies. So yes, Capitoline is very good for her. But here's the important question. Do you actually need it? If you're free to play, I would say no. If you have to choose between getting her or getting Capitoline, get her. She has other usable weapons like Planeta, Golden Melody, and Groza 3, so you can still get very good performance without spending your extra pulls on her signature. For free-to-play players, I'd rather save those resources for another character. For light spenders, the same rule applies. Prioritize her first. If you get her early and have plenty of resources left over, then Capitoline is a very nice upgrade. But I wouldn't sacrifice your future pulls just to get the weapon. And for heavy spenders, If your goal is to get the most damage possible, then yes, Capitoline is the weapon you want. So here's my final recommendation. For free-to-play players, I think she's a strong pull, while Capitoline is a skip unless you have plenty of resources. For light spenders, prioritize her first, and treat the weapon as a luxury upgrade. And for heavy spenders, getting both gives you the strongest version of her. Overall, I think she's worth pulling. She's flexible, she has a unique playstyle, she can work with different teams, and once you understand her two modes, her damage rotation is actually pretty straightforward. So if you're wondering whether to pull for her, I'd say yes, especially if you like her or need another strong damage dealer. But if you're wondering whether you need Capitoline too, the answer is simple. You don't. Get the doll first. The weapon comes afterward if you have the resources. I hope you find this video helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.